Virtually all of the work that my firm does is on commercial design and construction projects. And so some people have asked me, why are you dipping your toes in the residential construction contracts realm? What do you have in mind? What is this flat fee process driven method of preparing contracts? And really what it is it's my attempt to bring to, thousands of homeowners who are making the biggest financial investment of their lives, which is often, their home, especially people who are building, residential luxury homes. What does it entail? What are you up to? And because by necessity, it's different than the way that our commercial project clients work with our lawyers one-on-one to create the bespoke, customized contracts for the commercial projects that we work on, right? I think that, to be very honest with you, it's better for everyone all the time. It's better for every kind of client that I have to work with our lawyers one-on-one, and to pay for their time from beginning to end to understand, what's the nature of the project, to do the issue spotting, to spot the issues, and to sort of, do what we do typically, which is hourly billing. It's going to be better for everybody to go down that path, but it's prohibitively expensive, probably for a lot of homeowners, to hire a skilled construction contract attorney to hold their hand from start to finish on a residential project. And so what we have created with our flat fee process driven approach, it's a more affordable option, it's a simpler option, it's a quicker option, but there's a trade-off involved, right? Because you are not going to get the same kind of one-on-one attention that you would get if you were paying for your contract to be prepared, as we would if it were a commercial project. There's a trade-off involved. Now, rest assured that if you decide to let us help you prepare a contract for your residential construction project, that our lawyers will be here for you. If you start to go down this flat fee process driven approach and you're using our questionnaires and our documents are being built for you, and you get to a point where it's like, whoa, I should have gone the other route. I wish that I had hired the lawyers just to kind of work with me, step by step through the process, billing hourly. Like we could definitely, switch gears in the middle, and we can go, to a more traditional method of trying to prepare the contracts and help you negotiate them with your contractor. And certainly, if there's a dispute on your project, nothing would stop us from, jumping in and, assisting you to try to, avoid the dispute or to achieve that early cost-efficient dispute resolution that everybody wants, billing you on an hourly basis. It would be, an additional service that would go beyond, what we had envisioned as part of our flat fee process-driven method. So, it's inherently more affordable, it's simpler, it's a quicker option. The trade-off is that you're going to get a little bit less attention one-on-one from our attorneys. So, what does this process entail? The first is you're going to click that contact us link on the website, and you're going to fill out the form giving us your your name and your email and your phone number, and you're going to identify yourself in the drop-down box as a homeowner that's interested in hiring us to help you out, or somebody else who's involved in this process. Maybe you're a residential realtor or a residential real estate attorney, and you've got a potential homeowner client in mind for us. So you fill out the contact us form. You're going to get an email pretty quickly back to you that's going to give you more information, like what is the pricing options that we have for our flat fee contracts. You're going to get more detailed information than we have on the website, public facing now, like videos like this one, explaining, exactly what does the process entail, like how are we going to move step by step through it, the logistics, of working with us, the logistics of working with your insurance broker, the logistics of working with the contractor on negotiations. And importantly, you're going to get an email with a link that'll take you to a place where you can fill out a form. which is going to have maybe a half dozen questions that would allow us to take you from potential client to official client, ensure we've got no conflict of interest, so you'd identify who's your contractor, who's your architect, who's your lender, make sure that we're not already representing one of those parties so that we're conflict free. We would kick out to you via email an engagement agreement. That's the document that you'd use to hire us. It's all electronic. You could sign it with your finger, on your iPhone, if you wish. You sign, you'd swipe your credit card or, take advantage of one of the other electronic ways of paying the flat fee. And then, the real secret sauce behind our process is after you're a client, you'll have access to a very detailed questionnaire. 50 to 75 very specific questions that are going to help us understand what is the nature of your project. Are you tearing down a building that's already there, or are you building ground up, on, just an empty site? Are you digging very close to a property line where there's another building or not? Are you as the homeowner going to hire the architect directly, or are you just hiring the contractor and letting the contractor hire the architect? Is there a lender involved? What are the specifics about your project? What are the unique aspects of your project? This is what we call an issue spotting exercise. By filling out this questionnaire, we'll get from you the information that we would typically obtain from our commercial clients by hopping on the phone with them or sending a lot of emails back and forth or doing a Zoom with them. So, there's this sort of more automated way of us drawing the information out of you to do the issue spotting that we would need to make sure that the document that we're preparing for you is the right one. You're going to get more video content coming at you explaining, frankly, a lot of things that I find myself repeating again and again and again to my commercial clients. Most of the things that I've explained to them about the way property insurance for construction works, I've probably given the same spiel 5,000 times. So rather than having you get it from me live, you're going to get a video that's going to say, this is how you should be working with your insurance broker. And, now that you've got the contract, these are the different ways that your contractor might respond. They might want to mark up the document. They might, have a positive reaction or a negative reaction, and, what should you do if you want to work with, an escrow agency to help kind of process the monthly paperwork as your contractors are asking for payment requests so you can comply with the law. There's a whole bunch of stuff to consider. This is, stuff that we repeat again and again and again live to our commercial clients, but instead we're going to deliver it to you in video format to give you the guidance that you need to not have to be on the phone with us, to not be emailing with us. This is what allows this option to be more affordable for you, to be simpler for you, to be quicker. Again, there is the trade-off. You're probably going to be getting a lower level of service. You'd probably be better served to just hire us and let us bill you hourly and work on the project as we would a commercial project. But I think most people out there are going to say it's too expensive, it's too much of a hassle. So I'm hoping that this flat fee process-driven method that's affordable and simple and quicker, in spite of the trade-offs, I'm hoping it's going to hit homeowners exactly where they want to be. There won't be a lot of emailing going on here. There's not going to be, I'm going to send the lawyers 100 questions via email. All the communications that you'll have with our firm are going to happen inside something that we call a secure client portal, where you'll be able to message with our lawyers and staff, and ask questions via message inside this portal. So, one of the things that's very different than the way that we work on our commercial projects is you should have no expectations of emailing us a lot of questions and getting a lot of emails back. There in fact will be no email communication if you go down this flat fee process-driven approach, but you'll be able to ask all your questions within our secure client portal. You'll have them promptly answered by our staff and our lawyers. And the same thing goes with phone calls. You're not going to be able to pick up the phone and just call our office and expect to get a lawyer on the phone to answer, all of your questions. That's the way that we typically work on these commercial projects. It's different than what we're talking about here, but there of course is a way for you to schedule a call with a lawyer, if you'd like to do so. Inside the Secure Client Portal, there are calendar links where you can find an appropriate time that works on your schedule to book some time, with one of our lawyers. You can say, boy, my contractor really reacted negatively to this contract, and, they wanted to mark it all up with all these changes. What do? That's the kind of thing that maybe you're going to want to hop on a phone call with a lawyer and talk about, and that is absolutely part of our Envision process. It's not part of the flat fee. If you're going to book time to talk with our lawyers, you're going to pay, an hourly charge based on the hourly rate of the lawyer that you're working with. And we certainly have, lawyers here that are working at much lower hourly rates than me. So this is still something that's going to be affordable for you. And you can, sign up for as many slots as you want on the lawyer's calendar. There's nothing that would stop you from signing up for 10 hours or 1 hour, but you'd prepay. You'd swipe your credit card or take advantage of some of our other electronic methods of payment before the call. And then you'd hop on the phone with the lawyer, and you'd be able to talk to lawyers who work on the commercial projects, and are going to have answers to your questions and are going to be able to offer you practical solutions and help you distinguish between what are business issues for you to consider and what are legal issues that we can help you with. And so hopefully this flat fee process, this more affordable, this simpler, this quicker option is going to make having excellent design and construction contracts accessible to many more people out there. Homeowners who typically are just flying by the seat of their pants and signing whatever document it is that a contractor puts in front of them. So we're hoping that this is going to be something that is really attractive to the homeowner. And rest assured that if at any point in the process you want to upgrade and get away from the flat fee process and move over into a more traditional method of, I want to be able to get on the phone with the lawyers when I want, I don't mind being billed hourly. I've realized this is more complicated. Like, I want more support. Rest assured that is an additional service that we can offer, and we can quickly convert you, out of this flat fee process with, the constraints that it has into a more traditional method of preparing design and construction contracts that, is the bread and butter for the way that we work with our commercial clients.